What I learned in Valdez, Alaska. Welcome to the last frontier. Alaska is the most western, northern, and largest state in the U.S. by far. It doesn't have a lot of people, but it has a lot of faces. Of all the places I've been in this world, I think so far I've learned the most from here, because this is where I was born and raised. Our journey begins in Anchorage, the largest city in Alaska. I'm joined once again by my good buddy Matt. You remember Matt, don't you? And my childhood bestie from Valdez, Brad, who's driving us to Valdez. Tomorrow. Brad's younger brother Ted made an appearance, and after hitting all the cozy spots, I learned that even Anchorage can get hipster in a heartbeat. I should note that it doesn't really get dark here at this time of year, so the only real way to know when it's bedtime is when Brad starts saying darts.
Woo! Darts.
Although Valdez is only 90 miles from Anchorage, it's a monster 300-mile drive, because mountains. And on that drive you'll see rivers, glaciers, and Matt doing his R&B spin. Oh, and the Trans-Alaska Pipeline. This giant 800-mile long metal tube carries crude oil from Prudhoe Bay all the way to little old Valdez. You can buy fireworks in Alaska, but not within Valdez city limits, which are located 22 miles from Valdez. From there, you drive by another glacier, go through a canyon, and then you're finally there. Valdez has 4,000 residents and notoriously shitty weather, which explains why it's the snowiest town in the United States, getting an average of 25 feet per winter. I don't think you caught that. 25 feet! There's still a snow hill in the middle of town, and this is July. 25 feet. Valdez has been around since the gold rush days and is one of the most important ports in Alaska because it's as far north as you can get before the ocean freezes. And at one point, this was the largest floating dock in the US, and it's responsible for supplying the rest of Alaska with booze and bar soap, or whatever may or may not be in these things. This is Ed. He's what you'd call a no bullshit kind of guy. Ed's house is pretty much the Kool-Aid house, except replace Kool-Aid with beer. Ed's got a really nice dog named Larry, and Larry's a humper. He's the only dog I've ever met that will not lick your face. I guess that must mean that Eddie is a good father. Larry! One of the missions of the trip to Valdez was to learn the art of smoking salmon. Although I've been fishing my whole life, even with Brad sometimes, I have no idea what I'm doing. Eddie, however, does. He's the heavyweight champion of smoking salmon and agreed to mentor us, but only if he didn't have to do any of the work, which, it turns out, there's a lot of. A good place to start looking for Copper River red salmon is the Copper River, which is about 120 miles away near Chitna. Dip netting is a special kind of subsistence fishing that can only be done at certain places during certain times, which is why we plan this trip to be in July. It's dangerous business. The water is swift and very cold, and if you fall in, you're gonna die. I didn't know what I was doing. Brad sort of knew what he was doing, but Matt was the one to finally crack the code, and after that, it was gangbusters. Brad cleaned all the fish like a madman, and after another 2.5 hour drive, we're back at Eddie's and ready to start smoking. Smoking salmon is actually a long, involved process that I think is best represented in a Breaking Bad style montage. Another lifeblood of Valdez is the harbor. Once you get to the bay, the mountains shoot straight up from the water. Although commercial fishing is a huge industry in Valdez, I'm not sure if it tops the Alaska Pipeline Terminal, which is located across the bay. Since 1977, over 12,000 oil tankers have been escorted in and out of this port, although I'm pretty sure you've only heard about one. I'm not sure how the 4th of July goes down where you're from, but Valdez goes off. Drinking is a part of life in Valdez. Brad happens to live across the street from a local staple, the Pipeline Club. Not one single thing has changed about this bar in at least the past 15 years, including the smoking laws. When is last call? Whenever Rochelle wants it to be. I learned that you should never thumb wrestle this person unless what you're after is heartache and tears. We went to steak night. Steak night. and we ran into Judy Londo, a Valdez institution. If you've ever lived in this town, you have purchased a raffle ticket from Judy Londo. Her husband Pat is also a Valdez institution. He's a legendary taxidermist who's done more stuffing than, well, someone who stuffs a lot, I guess. I thought it would be educational for Matt to see the fruits of Pat's labor. After entertaining us with stories of adventure, Pat performed the Alaskan tradition of giving a visitor a bare penis bone. Okay, if you've stuck with the video this long, you deserve to know the truth. An Alaskan state trooper couldn't help but notice how terrible we were at dip netting, and figured we were fishing illegally, which, unbeknownst to us, we were. Matt and I, being Californian, bought out-of-state fishing licenses for this trip. It turns out you need another special permit to dip net in Alaska, one that only Alaskan residents can get. The guy was nice enough, but charged us with Class A misdemeanors and gave us a mandatory court appearance for later that week, which meant we had to drive 2.5 hours back to Glen Allen to meet our fate. We're going to court in Glen Allen. Matt and I both got slapped with $800 fines, and if you're wondering what happened to the 2 fish we caught, the trooper made us give them away to this little shit. So we actually ended up purchasing the salmon, which we probably should have done in the first place. Valdez is an incredible place, and it will always be my real home. I wish I had more time to tell you about the bears, the eagles, fighting for your life from the bugs, the skiing, Quetting's lumpia, the fact that the chief of police was once my baseball coach, and Larry's prolific sex life. But with every hello and goodbye that happens, I learn that I'll always come back here. The end.